You're listening to the Mother Effin podcast with Patti Crouch and Heather Dragulescu.
Hey, Heather.
Hi.
So I wanted to tell you that we got an email because, a couple episodes back, we had the big fold, no fold debacle of 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And we're taking votes, right? And
Yes.
apparently someone emailed us and I wanted to read it to you. Not because it's in my favor or anything, but because I wanted to read it to you. Seriously, why would anyone spend time on that? I just sort them into piles and put them in the underwear section of our drawers. We are much more joyful people. So yeah, that's another vote for Team No Fold.
I just think
various people have also come up to me and said, no, we don't fold. One person said that she folds some, but not all. So she's also on the no fold section.
she's also in the fold section.
So we're still taking votes, guys. If you want to leave us a voice message on the Anchor app, or if you want to leave us an email, cast your vote at the Mother Effin podcast at gmail.com.
I think that people who fold are just more productive and they're busy right now doing other things like folding underwear.
No. Good try. But no. But I know what I'll put in your eulogy. She had a nice, clean drawer.
It was so nice to take my underwear out this morning. It came out like I was taking a fresh pair out of the pack. Just so nicely folded.
Okay, Heather, as a New Year's resolution, I will resolute.
Resolute.
Resolute. Is that a word?
I don't know.
It is now.
I think we need to start a dictionary of Pattyisms.
Oh, Chris has one. He'll have the first edition already out. I will never fold my underwear. I'm not even going to do that. But no, okay. So resolutions, that's the time of year that we're in and trying to New Year's resolution, new year, new resols. I took a noun and made it even smaller now. Do you do New Year's resolutions?
I do.
You don't? Like, what do you do?
Well, I do things that I'm going to fail at within the first couple weeks. Like I'm going to eat better. Well, there it goes. I'm going to exercise more. Not today. But this year, there's been such big changes in 2018. Such a huge shift in my life in a very positive way.
With comedy. I mean, it started last year. You're coming upon your 1 year anniversary of starting comedy.
Yeah. And it just feels like one thing where this year resolutions really feel like something I kind of want to focus on, which FYI, that's what I say every year. So we'll see how it goes. But in terms of comedy, my resolution is to really get out and do more. I mean, I remember from my first show to the next one I did no open mics and it was 3 months later.
Oh, wow.
So I didn't do anything for like 3 months. And I did one open mic before I did that next show. And I would never do that again. Like I have to perform weekly now to really just keep the muscle alive. And so the goal for me next year is to do a show, hopefully at least once a week, but also be better about open mics. So I'm performing in some capacity 3 to 4 times a week. That's the goal.
Wow. You're way more ambitious than me.
I need that muscle to stay loose, and I want to keep track of a couple sets I'm doing. I'm really focused on just honing kind of some of the stuff I have right now and getting it really good and really strong. Like it's good right now, but there's some stuff I started taking this advice where I record all of my performances of this one set I'm doing. And then I go back and I listen to the laughs and I see across the board which one's consistent and which one gets weak and sometimes doesn't. So where do I need the work? And I'm fine tuning based on all of these recordings. So it's one of those things where I look and I say, I want to focus on doing that, where I really want to fine tune 20 minutes of material.
And how do you think your family is going to react to you being out 3 or 4 times?
Anna's going to have a fit everywhere. I think the benefit is I now have a job where I can work from home. I no longer am at work, come home, then I gotta go, so she's not gonna miss me as much. In her mind, she's rationalizing it. Well, mom's gonna be home more because she doesn't have to go to work because I can work from home. Hopefully that's gonna carry through an actual practice. And that's what I would just hope, that like I can have a little bit more liberty to keep focusing on the comedy stuff. But I am gonna cheat. I am gonna count classes as performance. If I take a class, that is a performance for the week. So we're going to add that to the tally.
Okay, that's good to know that that's how we're defining it.
How about you?
Last year, I kind of morphed into, I started comedy and then I took 6 months off and then did it again and slowly built myself up to 2 times a week being out. And then, of course, holidays happened and it didn't happen. Yeah. And then I realized how much I miss it. So my goal is to have 2 shows a month. With getting up 2 times a week. I don't know if that's going to include classes or not. Like I really want that just to be stand up. But we'll see, because I always have this hard time balancing everything, because I feel like if comedy is going well, then family isn't. And if family is going well, then the marriage isn't. And then if the marriage is going great, the house has to go great in order for the marriage to go great. Those go hand in hand, apparently. But, you know, like I always feel like I can't have it all
Yeah.
kind of thing. And so I don't want that feeling in next year. Like I want to really create a routine that allows me to have a little bit every week.
Yeah.
So like a writing day for the web series as well as a writing day for just the stand-up comedy. And then classes being more like with the improv stuff and like expanding it versus like honing it and having really just like open mics be what's honing it, I think. And it's going to be hard. What's going to give is sleep. Like
Who needs sleep?
me, I like my sleep.
I think we just should start doing crack, and I think we'll be a lot better.
Maybe. I could probably get some straight adrenaline. Adrenaline? What's it called?
Adderall?
Adderall. See, I'm not even good at the drug names. Like, I gotta that's probably should be my resolution. Figure out what drug names there are that I need to do
And what you need to
then
do.
go get them. Yeah. Could you imagine me going to the drug dealer? Dude, I need some adrenaline. Adderall.
And like, maybe you don't.
They'd probably be like, we can't sell to you until you know the proper name. And I want my main goal is I want to have 3 corporate gigs in 2019.
Wow, that's a hefty goal. That's a good one.
It is. And I kind of have it mapped out in my head of how to get there. So my head, the way I do goals and see, I'm not really big of like a resolution kind of person because in my head, resolutions don't have, I guess is a resolution the same as a goal? I don't know.
I feel like they can kind of go hand in hand.
Okay.
I think it's just an agreement to change on something.
See, I feel like a goal is more like what your end
Aiming
result
for,
is.
yeah.
So I feel like I have more goals than resolutions.
So then what's your goal for the comedy or just working towards it?
Well, with every goal, I feel like there's baby steps to get there.
Yeah.
And that doesn't seem overwhelming. So I have the information for James Connolly, who is a big corporate comedian. Gotcha. And I already reached out to him to do a private coaching session in the new year. So I'm hoping to do that mid-February, kind of have stuff to show him. As well as him being able to give me the baby steps that I need to get there. And then hopefully by June or July, be able to land some gigs.
That'd be awesome.
And small ones. I need to get my MC stuff up. So I feel like I have to have little baby steps to like tell me what to do so that I'm always constantly moving forward to the goal because then I never reach it kind of thing. That's, I think, my big comedy one. And I think getting up twice a week and MCing more often and that kind of stuff will get me there. Because I don't think, whenever I do those late night stuff, it's like, I don't know anything about current events. Like I don't watch.
Well, not supposed to be like
TV.
very current, the late night stuff.
No, but I'm not even edgy. Like, I don't know. I just don't, I don't feel like it's me. Yeah. Like I don't watch TV that much. I haven't watched a late night in forever.
Yeah, I don't watch them. I watch them on YouTube if it's any good.
But I know that's like the little platform. Like you get late night, your career rockets, you then have a traveling career, you then can get a Netflix special. Like that's, but
I don't want a traveling career. I don't want a Netflix special. My daughter the other day is like, Mom, maybe you'll get famous. And I said, I hope not. She goes, why? And I said, what a terrible thing. How terrible to want to be famous. I'm sure there are people out there who want it for great intentions, but just for me, one, I don't want my kids' faces out there. Yeah. I don't want people to see, I don't want the birth family to see and to know and to be able to follow me then at that point. And I just don't want my life out there. Though good news is I'm probably never going to be famous. So
you're already on your well on your way to not being famous.
I am over halfway there. So I'm happy about that. I would like to be known and I would like to have enough of a draw eventually. I don't think this is going to be the year for it where people come to see, if I can promote a show, people will come to see it. They'll come to Giggle Bash or they'll come to Gauchos or so, or they'll come to Flappers and they'll be like, I'm here because I listened to your podcast or because I saw you on Instagram and I thought it'd be fun to come watch you. So I would like eventually a draw, but I don't think I would want to tour much. Maybe a little bit over the summer. Branson, Missouri. If you'd like me to come over the summer and perform for 6 weeks, I am down for Branson, Missouri.
6 weeks?
Yeah, they'll do 6-week gigs because all the tourists come. So it's like a new group every night. So you rent like an apartment for the summer in Branson and go do comedy for 6
that's
weeks.
why I think the corporate, it pays so well that it'd be really easy to be like, oh, we're going to San Diego for the weekend and bring the kids and I do my thing that night or I'm gone during the day, but Chris is out gallivanting and, you know. If you earn $7,000 for a 3-day weekend, you can afford to have the babysitter come with you and help.
Yeah.
And make it more like vacation, us getting out and mom's just paying for it while she works or something.
Yeah, it's a complicated thing. And I just, I want to be home more. I like being with the kids. Our goal is in not next year, but the year after to hopefully open, a little comedy a la carte theater in Santa Clarita where we're moving. If that, working towards that this year of being able to have enough interest and enough draw of people coming to Santa Clarita to see comedy or stage shows at this little theater. It would be great.
That's awesome. I didn't know that was one of your goals.
Yeah, but it's not for this year.
That's okay.
It's next year.
Think big, think big. So what is your kind of goals for your family? Like, do you have any goals or resolutions for that?
To not want to kill them all the time.
Good luck. You already failed.
I
You
know.
haven't even started the new year and you already failed. I'm
just-
such an encourager. Nope, not going to happen.
There's things happening right now that are hard for them. Like my son, for instance, the hormones are changing and he's confused. He doesn't know if he's straight or if he's gay or if he's both or if he's nothing or whatever. And it's becoming a huge burden on him.
Really?
We've always been open and we have plenty of gay friends. So he knows that whatever it's accepting. But I didn't realize how much a person may struggle with themselves not being able to accept certain things. And that seems to be where he's at right now, that he has very confusing feelings and he is so desperate to find an answer internally that it's affecting him externally in every way.
Oh, man.
I know. She's like, you can be gay. I told him, I said, it's okay to be gay. He's like, but I don't know if I am. He's like, I'm very confused. Sometimes I have feelings. Sometimes I don't. And I said, you could be both. It's fine. But
Well, can you tell him that most 13-year-olds sometimes have feelings and sometimes don't? Like,
we've gone through all of that. Like, this is normal. But for whatever reason, because of his sexual abuse past, it's affecting him in a way that we weren't anticipating. So my goal for him is for him to find some calm and some peace, even if he doesn't find the decision, to know that it's okay. For Bella, I would just love her to learn to get out of the drama. She's been telling me about all the drama at school lately. I'm definitely getting a censored version of what's happening, but I can see through some of the stuff. I can see through what she's mentioning. Yeah, I just, I hope to remain calm and approachable to her so that she'll continue to tell me and maybe I won't get such a censored version. I mean, the good news is she's coming out of the blue and saying this thing happened at school today and I'm really upset by it.
Really?
That's a huge plus, that it's coming out freely, though I can tell you're not giving me the whole story, but I'm not going to grill on that part. I want her just to continue talking. So we've got that. And then for Anna, I just need to learn to not let those tantrums continue to get under my skin. The other night she had a flip out in the car. I don't know why. I think she was just tired. But suddenly we got in the car from like the mall and she's like, I have a headache. Lower all the windows. I can't breathe. I'm dying. And I'm like, you need to chill. And she starts wailing, where it's a point where knowing her, lowering a window would not help her.
Yeah.
She's now in a state of uncontrolled frenzy. We're going back to one of our big resolutions is we're going back to schedules. We're changing the diet for the family again. We used to follow a very specific diet. They've gotten very lax on it. So we're going to go back to that very specific diet.
What kind of diet? Because we don't do any refined sugars or dyes. If we put something in, it's like, oh no.
Yeah, it's that. It's pulling out casein, a lot less dairy in their day-to-day, going back to more whole plant, but also meat. Meat's not going away. It's just pulling out anything not natural for the most part. Though dairy is a big one. Dairy is one where it's casein. It's the chemical in it that causes a problem with the kids. Mm. It was a book I bought years ago, a cookbook, and I wish I could remember the name. But it's about like how the brain affects kids. The food that you feed them affects their brain.
Oh, yeah.
And how they react. So we're going to go back to that. They're not happy about it, but whatever. They won't starve themselves. So
no.
At the end of the day.
So it sounds like your resolution as being a mom is just to try to continue to strive for that calm, receptive mother.
I honestly think because when we first got the kids, I was able to take 6 months off of work. Things fell apart in those 6 months. But then I had a work that was very understanding once I went back. For the most part, the job that I'm currently have been in has tried to be understanding, but they just haven't been able to be. Just the necessities of that position. And so I think with my new job that I have, I'm going to be able to return to being a better focused and more present parent, which I think is important. Yeah.
Present.
Because it's really easy at night to just open up a bunch of refined, grains or refried beans and just white rice that you can boil in a bag and do all this stuff and get dinner done in 10 minutes and easy peasy. But my kids just can't handle the stuff in it. I can't go with that method. I have to go with something a lot less cheese. And that's the thing. If I want them to eat something, I would just dump cheese on it.
I love cheese.
I do love cheese. The kids are going to be really ticked off. So
I can't go. That's the reason why everyone's like, you're basically paleo. I'm like, I like my bean and cheese tacos. Like that's like the that's like the anti-paleo move. Like meal. It's like my bean and cheese tacos. I'm like,
yeah. And I know me logistically. And the thing is, this diet plan will work for 75% of the meals.
75% probably all you really need in reality.
Yeah. And then I'll let them, we're going to go out to eat on Saturday because I'm not going to want to cook. So it's going to be like Saturday night, let's go have something to eat. And then you can go run around afterwards and be crazy, Yeah. Burn it up. What about you for your family?
I would like to not give Chris the crappy part of me. I feel like he gets the crappy part of me because like Jackson just takes so much. Even Zandy. I feel like Zandy gets the crappy part of me as well. Those two get the crap of me. So I'm hoping I can give him some more of the fresh patty. Sounds really weird. I'm not a meat, but that sounds like I'm a fresh patty. Sorry. So I'm kind of hoping that happens this year. And then for Zandy, I hope I find a way of talking to her that lands. Yeah. Because with the whole self-esteem, I'm stupid, I can't do this, I'm the worst Zandy ever, like all that stuff, like whatever I say doesn't work, but I know something that I could say could land. I mean, I bought 7 books for Christmas about self-esteem and like I matter, it's okay, mindful mantras, like all these things. So I'm hoping I can find that like golden phrase that helps her get unstuck from the negative muck. That was one of the titles of the book. And then for Lexi, I hope I can model for her how to not be immediately angry. Because I realize she's like me in that, where it's like, I need you to pick up your shoes. She's like, oh. Chris is like, Patti, I need you to pick up your clothes. I'm like, oh. So I'm like,
I need you to fold your underwear.
No. Even Chris lets me not fold my underwear. Although when he does the laundry, which is like very, very rare, he folds my underwear.
And isn't it so nice?
No, because then I have to unfold it in order to put it on. And like, that's another 2 seconds wasted. And there's multiple layers.
How long does it take to unfold underwear that it's 2 seconds? That's a long time.
Keep voting, people. I know I'm going to win. There's more people out there than you think. Anyways, okay. So, and then Jackson, I just hope he's not the kid he was in 2018.
But better.
Yes. Go the other way. I'm really scared for him. Like if he gets stronger and if his tantrums continue, like Chris and I cried a couple nights ago about how cry count. Like right now, if he continues on this track, he's going to end up in a residential treatment center in order to keep the girls safe. So I'm hoping something happens where he can grow out of it. Like that's the hardest part too, is because he's cognitively between 2 and 3. So I don't even know I'm on the end of this or in the beginning of this.
Because you got the terrible 2s and stuff. Yeah, you
get the terrible 2s. You have the 3-nagers. Yeah. And I'm like, where are we in this? Because I think that would give me more hope if I knew that there was a light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. But we don't even know. He may live in this tunnel for the rest of his life. Yeah. And so it's scary. As well as if I could see that light, I could be like, okay, I only need 15 more cases of cider to get through this. Like I can figure out the time schedule or not. So I'm hoping something changes in it and we find some kind of sensory diet. And that's what we're working on right now with the OT, is like really figuring out a sensory diet for him and an emotional diet, as a sense of like trying to figure out how he can handle these big emotions. Because he's basically being like a 2 or 3-year-old fit. And most 2 and 3-year-olds are jerks. Like that's the jerk stage. Although someone told me yesterday, the PT told me yesterday, I was like, yeah, he's in that developmental stage of being a jerk. And he goes, and he's a male, so he may never grow out of it. I was like, oh yeah, I love it. Just really trying to figure out that would be nice. Yeah. And then for me, like my personal one, I don't know, get back to me on that. What's your personal one? Like for you, like what?
It's always to get healthy. So Bobby and I talked.
Okay, so it needs to be, okay, sorry.
Well, no,
Bobby and you talked.
Well, yeah, and so we decided that we would go ahead and try for a biological child this year. Don't have any expectation of outcome at this point, though. Talk to me when it fails. Okay. And see if like I suddenly have an expectation. But I've always said I don't want to be overweight and pregnant because I know how much damage that does to the baby and how much harder it is on them and the mom. So I really have to get in shape before even attempting anything.
Okay.
So it's a drive this year, finally like getting serious. My weight has always been related to how I'm doing in an emotional state. And actually I told Bobby, I said, I can tell I'm ready to start losing again because I'm not making choices that I used to make, where I have to have that food to solve the emotional need. Like I can start going without again. And I can bypass all the things that I'd be like, the store, let me grab this $100,000. Let me grab this Snickers. Let me grab this Reese's Pieces.
Okay, time out. You said $100,000 and I was like, there's money at the store.
No.
Sorry. It always goes there because mine. Anyway, sorry.
I love $100,000. They're really good.
Those are one of my favorites.
Yeah, they're
and
really
Twix,
good.
but I haven't had any of those in like 16 years.
And that's the thing. It's like I can do periods where I don't eat sugar or anything, get really healthy. Like a couple years ago, I dropped 60 pounds on my own. No, just working out and eating right.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
I know it's possible. I know I can do it. I know it's there, but I just have not been in the right state of mind. And so I feel like I'm finally getting to the right state of mind.
But your kids are now, there's always going to be issues, but they're more settled than they have been ever.
Yeah.
Bella seems like she's talking and working through stuff a little
bit more. Yeah.
It's a smidge. We'll give her a smidge.
And I think I need to show good lifestyle habits for these kids because Bella is very sedentary and Bella has eating issues.
Isn't it crazy how you won't do this for yourself, but you'll do it for your kids?
Oh, totally.
And you're going to probably do it for your unborn child right now. Like you want to get into a weight so that you can possibly have your own biological child. But you wouldn't do it for Heather. Like Heather, for some odd reason, not important enough to do it.
No. And that's the funny thing.
But Anna, Tony, and
Bella
are.
I will tell you, it's the funniest thing because people go, for you to be able to be up on the stage, you must have such confidence. You must have, you must be so confident about this and that and the other thing. I'm like, I have the worst self-esteem ever. And I go up on that stage to get validation that I'm an okay human being.
Wow.
And if I ever mentally did a flip where it was like, people are laughing at me because I'm awful, that would be the end of it. Like right now, still I go, people are laughing at me because I provide some value out there. And so it validates me in some way.
Wow. Okay, so we need to have, that should be your goal, is forget like health and pounds and inches.
I'm never going to have good self-esteem. Like it's one of those
Said the girl with no self-esteem.
I am very confident in my lack of confidence of myself.
I am confident that I have no confidence.
Exactly. It's I've struggled with self-esteem. I was bullied a lot as a kid. And so I've moved into this world and this adulthood with low self-esteem, but that doesn't mean
that can change, Heather.
But you know what? I feel like some part of it drives me and fuels me. Constantly is pushing me.
This is something that I feel like comics talk about all the time, and you're not talking about it necessarily within comedy, but something is that if you actually became a happy person, if you actually became a person of self-worth, if you actually became someone who wasn't depressed, would you be funny? Like, could you do what you do?
Yeah, I don't know.
And the answer is yes.
Is it?
It'd be better. It would.
Would it?
Yes. Completely.
I don't think people want me to go, I adopted 3 kids and they're perfect.
No, because they're not going to be perfect, but your perspective of who you are as a mother, as a wife, and as Heather would be better.
But, it's, I'm thriving right now. Aren't I? Question mark? Hashtag thriving?
Hashtag thriving, question mark. Are you allowed to have question marks?
No, you can't. Can't have punctuation.
I don't know these hashtags.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Self-esteem is a tough thing. And, I will say that getting the kids perpetuated my low self-esteem. And one of the reasons that, I told you I wanted to do this podcast is I would go to these meetings and these parents would get up and they're like, oh, my life is so blessed. I'm so blessed. These children have just become angels and my life force and it's just perfect. And they would never get out of the honeymoon period. Like every time would be just
they're
how
lying
great.
To themselves.
Oh, sure. But then I'd have social workers come like, oh, this family. Like I remember this one woman came to do a checkup on the house. And she's like, oh, I met this other family that adopted 3 kids, same age like yours. They're fostering. And the mom, she's like a teacher and the kids homeschool and blah, 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 blah. And they're just so wonderful. And it's so ideal. And I'm looking around at my house and it's like a bomb exploded. And my kids are like starting to like crawl under. My kids do a weird thing when people come over to the house to check them out. Instead of acting normal, they like to crawl under the couches. And so like she's saying all this and my kids are like all cramming themselves underneath our couches. And I'm like, And in my head, I'm like, stay under there. Cause if you get out, there's going to be all these dust bunnies on you and probably some food particles, maybe some dead insects. I have not cleaned under the couches in ages. And she's going on and on about this great family. And it's
But
just,
it's a facade. It's one perspective.
it is.
Because that mother probably cries in her bathroom eating pounds and pounds of chocolate every single night.
I hope so. I mean, that's a terrible thing to say, but it's like,
Well, in reality,
I
it's
need
the truth.
it.
Because even someone's life who's perfect, it's a perspective. It's a perspective of they think that the crappy parts they're learning from, or they're, it's a perspective.
Yeah.
And it's like your self-esteem is a perspective.
It is. And, it works. I kind of put my self-esteem on the back burner. I really
And maybe
do.
this year, that's what you don't do.
Ugh, that feels like a really bad decision.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone say having more self-esteem is probably a bad decision. Because even the people who are really arrogant and narcissistic, it's just the flip side. You have to live in that balance of thinking you're worth it and knowing that you're not.
Yeah.
Like there's always stuff to improve. There's always things to work on and stuff.
I mean, we'll see where it goes, but
I have a new challenge.
oh God,
Challenge 1, make Heather cry.
not going to happen.
Challenge 2, get her some self-esteem.
Maybe eventually.
Man, I wish Amazon had it. It has everything else. Self-esteem.
I just buy you some self-esteem. It's 2 days. But if I make the order over $35, I can have same day delivery. Anything else you need? Some pencils?
Crap. Self-esteem's only $25. I need $10 more of something.
How many erasers can I buy for $10? That's what we always end up buying. Whenever we're just short a little bit, I'm like, just buy some pencils. Those kids, I go through pencils so fast.
I always end up buying like a $30 thing. And I'm like, if I would have just bought that, I would have gotten the one day. Like, I always buy something I wanted, but never really want to buy.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is just too much. And then I'm like, but I only need $5 more. Might as well pay that $35 thing then. I love Amazon. Someone told me yesterday that they refuse to shop on Amazon. And I was like,
yeah, I go back and forth.
How do you live? They want to shop locally, which I get.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't care. I'm a horrible person. I have plastic straws. I killed the turtles. I will shop Amazon and kill the local people.
So your personal resolutions.
Not the real people, just the local businesses.
So then talking about your personal resolutions, any personal resolution to not kill turtles or?
No. I got my first paper straw yesterday.
Those are crap.
Oh my goodness. It's going to make me dehydrated.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to drink from it. And I end up putting the straw across on the top of it so that it doesn't get all
soggy and weird.
And it still got soggy and weird.
Yeah.
Or like, this is not going to work.
What about a harder plastic straw?
I'm going to start carrying my own straws. And that way I can not kill the turtles, because apparently turtles are important. I do think turtles are important. Okay. As well as I don't have to use that crappy plastic ones. And apparently no one cares about the trees.
Yeah. Well,
like,
because we have a tree problem in California anyways. Yeah, that's why there are all those fires, because they don't cut them down enough.
Well, not anymore. There's no more.
We burned them all.
We burned them all.
Oh, and personal resolution. Maybe not to be such a dick to my kids, because you just reminded me. So in that fire, P64 passed away, and my daughter is obsessed with
there's
mountain
two of them,
lions.
right? 64 and 22?
73. There's a bunch of them. They all have numbers.
I
So
thought there's only 22. P22. No. Is there a P22?
There is a P22, which is the one that like her school adopted. That's like their favorite one.
That one's in Griffith Park all the time.
Yes. So this is why it reminded me of it. Last year, one of the P numbers died. P43, P23. I don't know. One of them got hit by a car, and she was being such a twat. And I just wanted to get after her in some way. That I said, oh, by the way, read in the newspaper today, P, whatever the number was, died on the freeway last night. And she's like, what? And I was like, yeah, he's dead.
Oh, geez, Heather.
So I was just giving her some factual news. Maybe not in the nicest way, but
just
it
facts.
was.
She needs to know the facts.
But I'll tell you what was so funny is we do this game where I'm like, give me your impression of an elephant. Give me your impression of a pig. Like when she's starting to act up. And so she needs to move and be, to get energy out.
We all should get a trampoline.
We had one. They broke it. And she likes to do it because it kind of gives her facial expressions and it kind of calms her down in that tense moment. So I don't know why I did. I was like, give me P, whatever the one that died is. And she went, what? And made this dead face. All right, she's over it. She's not mad at me. She's okay.
That's pretty funny. I always ask them to do an impersonation of a giraffe. Mm-hmm. Apparently giraffe is like one of the only animals that don't make sounds.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know how they communicate. But I'm almost like, what is the sound a giraffe makes? And they just look at me with like, I don't know. And I'm like, exactly, they don't make a sound.
Haven't made like a little, like a little weird noise. No? Okay.
I mean, I'll look it up. Maybe I'm wrong, but I read somewhere in one of those children's
might
books
be
that
right.
giraffes are the one animals that don't make any sounds.
So personal resolution for you?
I don't want to be as intense. I feel like sometimes all my emotions are like really intense. And so I feel like I'm either really angry or I'm really happy. I'm never just like, we're good.
Neutral, yeah.
Neutral. Like I just really want to not have so many things be so intense. Like if I can make Jackson not as intense and the girls' tantrums not as intense.
Yeah.
I just don't want to be as intense.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the opposite of intense is.
Mellow?
No, I just think I'm going to be smoking weed then. That's what I think of mellow. I don't know. What's like I don't know. I need to find that word and like live by that word. But I definitely want to be reflective too. Mm-hmm. So there's a friend of mine who is the forever mama of the little boy that we had for 6 months, and he went to live with her, and she has officially been his forever family, mm-hmm. right? And we call each other once a week, and we just touch base and support each other and do prayer requests or whatever we need to do. And some weeks it's hard, and some weeks it's easy, and some weeks we're both grumpy and whatever. She heard somewhere, and she shared it with me about how your experiences, you don't learn from your experiences. You learn from the reflection of your experiences. So I'm hoping to be a little bit more reflective, I guess, in 2019, but not as intense. So less intense, more reflective. But this is the reason why I feel like I'm going to fail, is because there's no steps to get there. Like I know the steps to get to corporate comedy. I know, like, how do you just be less intense?
Reflecting on things. I always like to look back in the hindsight of going, like, far back, what were the things that I had to do to get for Bobby and I to be together? His dad had to have gotten this job that he got because he couldn't get any other work, and he came to the US, and you go back and you go, all these decisions that people made for hundreds of thousands of years before you.
Yeah.
And you just kind of look at the wonder and awe of how one little decision has this huge rippling impact. I had Puritan relatives who decided to move to the US in the 1700s.
Yeah.
And
it's amazing how it all has to fit together.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And the way that things happen, and then this war happens overseas. And so my great-grandfather's a doctor, my great-grandmother's a nurse, and they meet during World War I. And then for my grandfather, happens to get stationed in World War II in Italy and almost runs over my grandmother in a truck. And
what?
She wasn't supposed to be on the bridge. So, and then my dad, Vietnam has to be going on, and he's getting sent to Korea. And my mom makes a decision at the last minute to go somewhere, and my dad does too, and they just happen to meet that night. You think about all these crazy things that happen in order for you to exist. And when you think about that, when you start thinking of through everybody's life story.
But doesn't it sadden you too? Like my girl's mom had to fail in order for me to get be their mother.
Yeah. That's not the part I want to reflect on.
I'm crying again.
I mean, it is one of those things.
It's amazing that it's like
I always look at the positive part. We did not get matched for so long.
Because we needed these 3 kids.
We needed to get these 3. So there was a purpose for that.
Oh, completely.
But yeah, it's just, and if I could give a personal resolution to the birth mom of my kids, it would be get clean. Get clean, because Bella's going to come in 5 years to find you. I know. And I need you to be clean and be sober and be fully aware of what you did.
Maybe you don't, though.
It's not.
Maybe more healing will happen if she's not clean. And then she realizes, oh, she couldn't have done it. And I needed my mom, Heather.
I think Bella would have more guilt on herself and would feel like I should never have been away. I could have helped her, because that's where she is right now. I think she needs to see also this hope that people can change, that it's not a dead end, because she thinks she can't change, and she can.
Yeah. So. I think there's a girl named Heather who thinks her self-esteem can't change.
My self-esteem is fine in the toilet. It's hanging out there. It's okay. It goes for a spin once in a while.
Oh my goodness. Okay, for this podcast.
Yes.
I hope we both remain true to the content of it being like a true, authentic place for us to have our therapy, have our vent sessions, and help people not feel less alone and get something out of it. Like I hope it never becomes anything but that. So I'm hoping we continue that focus in 2019. What do you have for the podcast? You could do the number stuff, because I don't like the number stuff.
I just hope we continue to reach people and grow, and people email us or leave a voice message or, write on our Facebook wall, which we've been getting lovely messages that way. I hope the podcast starts to let people know that they're not so alone out there. I think they always kind of knew they weren't, but I think, at least with me, I thought, I found another adoptive mom and she feels in such a similar way. But we're such a small group. Everybody else still must feel so much better. We're just weird.
Us are the odd.
Because we went to comedy to find happiness. I just want to keep reaching people, and I want to keep expanding in that sense and letting people know it's okay to be really upset and frustrated, and for you to want to feel like dying, because you often do, but you don't.
No,
you keep waking up the next day and going, maybe today's the day. Maybe the aneurysm happens today. That would be great. But then suddenly you don't ask for it as much anymore. Yeah. And then you're there.
And then there's moments where you do again.
Yeah.
But then you're not there.
Then you're like, maybe a tree will fall today.
So what was I guess you've already kind of answered it, but what was the best thing that happened to you in 2018?
Comedy, totally. It awakened the creative part of me that had been in slumber for so long. We met, which I think is a huge thing in my life. I think you're such an important person. Are you going to cry? Don't cry over that.
Well, you also took mine.
No. But
that was totally a baited question. I asked you first so that I could be like the good person that says, you, Heather.
But I think we're both right in the sense. Like, comedy was big for us this year.
It was.
And I think we found ourselves a little more.
Well, I wanted to tell you thank you for all that you bulldozed me to do.
Yes.
In 2018. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like I'm a better person.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Because you pushed me to do certain things. And you pushed me to think about certain things. And I mean, I'm emailing managers and all this weird stuff. And I produced a comedy show that I never really wanted to produce in the first place. Like, I'm doing all these things. Even this podcast, like, we thought about a podcast, and then people told us to do a podcast, and then we came together and said, let's do a podcast. And then you didn't like this idea. So then you were like, no. I'm like, okay. And then, came back, let's do a podcast. And the next week we were recording. Like, yeah. I like that you keep me moving forward in comedy. And then because of the comedy, you keep me moving forward, growing, which I appreciate. So,
well, thank you. So maybe next year will be your big year, and it'll be the year of reflection. And I won't bulldoze so much. That's never going to happen. Let's just be honest.
I was like, no.
I'm going to keep. But, you've been, the first time we met, it was like kindred spirits.
Yeah.
I read Anne of Green Gables. Though if people don't know that reference, that's Anne of Green Gables, which is my favorite book series. I've never read it. You've got to read it. It's wonderful.
I've never read it.
But kindred spirits are people who meet who haven't met before, but have an instantaneous connection.
Yes.
And so I always love that phrase. You've taught me how to be more assertive without being mean.
You're welcome.
Which is, I may have had a problem doing that in the past. A lot of problem of that in the past. And, it's been nice to have a person go, no, we're not just going to bulldoze. We've got to think for a moment. Let's think. And I think I need a thoughtfulness aspect, or else I may miss opportunities that I don't see.
Oh, I'm going to cry again. This was a 3-count cry. That was pretty good.
Well, I hope everyone out there has made some wonderful New Year's resolutions. Or maybe not resolutions, resolves.
Results. Let's just cut it further down. Yeah, I just hope everyone has an amazing 2019 and can reflect on 2018 and see how amazing that year was too. Mm-hmm. To 2019.
To 2019.
Thanks for this amazing space, Atlas Oceanic Sound and Picture. We appreciate it.
Totally. And to our husbands, we appreciate you letting us go on these crazy journeys. For Chris, letting me drag Patti everywhere that I want to go.
And Bobby for getting everything we need to go on these journeys. Thank you. It's seriously, we appreciate you guys a lot.
And thank you to the listeners, because we wouldn't be this far in the podcast if it wasn't for you guys.
We do appreciate you listening, and hopefully you don't feel less alone. But tell us you don't feel less alone.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
The Mother Effin podcast is hosted and produced by Patti Crouch and Heather Dragulescu. Subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to visit us online at mothereffinpodcast.com.